Whiskey Alpha 2, Alpha Romeo, WA2AAR.
WA2AAR. This is Whiskey Bravo 9 Delta Zulu Sugar. And thanks for coming back to the call. My name is Tom, Tokyo Oscar Mike. I'm located in Chesterfield, Virginia. In Chesterfield, in the state of Virginia, just south of Richmond, Virginia. So, wonder how you copy. Got pretty good report on here. I'll give you a signal report next time. WA2AAR. This is Whiskey Bravo 9 Delta Zulu Sierra. Go ahead. Name is Tom, Tokyo Oscar Mike.
Okay there, Tom, WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra. Here's Whiskey Alpha 2, Alpha Romeo. I am not pushing much power here. I don't have my amplifier on right now or tuned up for 40 meters. It's tuned up for 80 and, no, 20. Tuned up for 20. But you're coming in here, I give you 5'9". You're really, really strong. You're really strong up here into Pennsylvania. I am in the northeast section of Pennsylvania. Town called Hawley Hotel. Alpha, Whiskey, Lima, Echo Yankee, Hawley. I am talking to you right now on a rice box, which is an ICOM 756 Pro 3. Normally I use my what the heck is it? I use the Yaesu FT902DM for AM. But I happen to be listening to a QSO here before you called CQ, so I figure I'd give you a call back. So back over to you there, Tom. WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra, WA2AAR.
Yeah, WA2AAR. WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra. And you're the same. You're S9, Ron. Doing a great job there from Pennsylvania. Yeah, I went down on, I just got up from 75. Heard a QSO on 3873. I called CQ on 3885 and no one came back. So we thought we'd try 40 meters. The fine on the rice box audio sounds really reasonable, and no trouble copying, no QRM. Noise floors sounds fairly low today. I'm using a Flex 5000A, and I'm driving that about 9 watts into a Expert 1.5 KFA. Should be running close to the legal limit. The antenna's a off-center fed dipole in an apex configuration where the center point is up at around 70 feet. So back over there to you. Glad you came back. I haven't been making too many QSOs these days. WA2AAR, WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra.
Okay, WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra, WA2AAR. Okay there, Tom. Yeah, we've been spending most of our time on CW here when we get a chance. We know we like CW, but we do get on voice on sideband and AM when we do get a chance. But, you know, it's not that long, many hours in the day for you to do it. And usually the weekends, usually you can make a lot of contacts on the weekends. On the weekdays, your phone's few in between for people to make contacts with you. You know, I'm over here trying to list a bunch of stuff, you know, on the internet that I have for sale. And I just happened to go through a box. I didn't even know I had these. I got a matched pair of 572Bs which came from our parts. So I got to put them up on the internet for sale and get them out there. And you know, you find more and more junk after being a ham for 51 years. You find more and more stuff packed up all over the place. I sold that amplifier a year ago. I didn't even know I had the spare Taylor tubes. So I guess I put them up on the internet for a halfway decent price, and somebody will grab them. We're using a end-fed, 274-foot end-fed antenna, and that's going in, I sit 1,275 feet above sea level here. Just shy 125 feet of the top of the mountain. So it's a very, very good location for amateur radio. I got to get out there next month, and I got to start putting up some trailbander so I can get that up before wintertime sets in. And that's for 10, 15, 20 in the walk band. And I'll get that up, and I'll be all ready to go. I got an R5 sitting in my, which is up outside, which is no more than about 15 feet up off the ground. That R5's got to be about 40 years old. My Mosley, the TA-33, is roughly speaking about 40 years old also. I had it in the shack here, took the traps apart to inspect them and make sure the traps were still in good shape, and they're fine. And that antenna made it through Superstorm Sandy. I was at work. I couldn't leave the salt mine, and the wife was at the house, so it was bad just to leave her there with that storm. But what my job was at the hotel where I worked, I couldn't leave. So, back on the Tom. WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra. This is Whiskey Alpha 2, Alpha Romeo.
Yeah, I don't know where you've been so long, Ron. We haven't run across each other before. WA2AAR, WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra. Yeah, I did a lot of CW back in the early days. I got my license in 1970, and for the first 10 years I did quite a bit. I never liked CW at first that much. Let's see, I think it was about 1976, I entered a ARRL CW contest. And wow, that did wonders for my speed and copyability. After that, I could just walk around the room and hear the words and sentences come flowing through. I don't know if I won Illinois that year, at least on CW, but I think I did pretty good in the contest. Toward the end of it, at the beginning I had a hard time catching up, and at the end I was upset if people sent too slow, delaying the contact exchange times. It's just amazing how quick you can get that going if you just use it. Now I think with my my physical health, I don't think I do too good on CW. I do a lot of slow scan TV because it saves on my voice. You undoubtedly could tell my voice is very stressed, and it's hard to even make a phone contact. I used to sell, I don't know, it was about 7 years ago, there's a 3 or 4 year period. I did a lot of selling on eBay. I did a challenge to one of my sons on how easy it is to make money, and took something I had bought at a yard sale recently, a little antique, I can't remember what it was, but I put it on sale, showed him how to set up an eBay account. I set up a PayPal account, linked them, and I was shocked how quick and how much the item sold for. So I kept doing it, and it got addictive after a while. I think by the time I was done with it, when my health deteriorated, I stopped doing it, but I think I ended up selling, I forget what it was. It was just, 10,000 items. It was well in excess of $100,000 in gross revenue. So I had a lot of fun with that eBay store. I got into things I didn't even know about. I would find a old, original PlayStation or something at a yard sale, and I'd put it on there, and the thing sold with the games. I guess I had a rare game in the package, and that got me interested in electronic games. And I did quite a bit of that. Or I knew after a while what all the games were worth. And, I've just run into strange things. Got into some NASCAR stuff, found that the little cars didn't sell well, but the paraphernalia like hats and things, if you had a Dale Earnhardt hat, that was new or at least in good condition, it was amazing how much they would go for. And just run across the stuff at yard sales, thrift stores. After a while, I got to some knowledge. I started to buy things on eBay. I'd get something in the morning, and I'd pay, let's say, $25 for it, and it would be back out in the mail, sold later that day for $125. So it became easier and easier. But I haven't done that since I think about 2017 was the last time I sold something on eBay. I bought a few things since then. Yeah, I hope my antennas stay up. I don't have any ability to get them back up if they fall down. I'm kind of my last days of making contacts here. So I got 4 antennas up. I got 2 off-center fed dipoles and 2 folded dipoles. That's the rundown of the HF.
What happened to me was I went out on permanent disability when I was 59 years old. I'm 71 right now. I do have lung cancer, and it's type of lung cancer that's from asbestos, but it is not mesothelioma. I have to emphasize that. It is a type of lung cancer that's formed outside the lung, and it's called single-cell carcinoma. That's the layman's terms for it. And I have an oncologist, which is keeping me alive all this time, because it's been stage 4 since. And I take a chemo pill every single day, and I do get out of breath, and that's normal. I had a pulmonary embolism about 4 years ago. I was in the hospital for a week on a hep. That went that way, then I wound up on blood thinners because of that. And it's weird. The cancer pill raises your blood pressure. So the cardiologist that I go to, not more than harm. I just want to have it checked, keep an eye on it, because all the men in my family passed away from major heart attacks. And he says, "You got high blood pressure." I said, "No, I don't." "Yes, you do." I said, "No, I don't." I said, "That's because of the cancer pill." He said, "What are you taking?" And I told him. And very fortunate that the cardiologist I have, he is also a cancer doctor for the heart. So he put me on blood pressure pills. So I take one of them a day too. So one of the weirdest one is the blood thinners. I hate that damn thing. But my pulmonologist says you got to take them. You got to watch out for that pulmonary embolism not coming back. So I do that. So you go around as much you can, and how you can, and how much you can, and do. I was going to go downstairs and do some weed whacking outside today. But I carried down an 80-pound amplifier out of my truck yesterday down the stairs into the basement where I am. And my back ain't feeling too good. So today I said I got to go take a shower. Went in and took a shower. I had the mat down on the floor tub. Apparently it wasn't down good enough, and I slipped. I grabbed myself. I didn't fall. But I grabbed myself from my arm, grabbed my left shoulder. All day. That's what happens to us here Tom, we fall apart as we get older. You know, what can you do? Can't do nothing. Just gotta roll with the punches. WB9,
WA2AAR, WB9DZS. Wow, it sounds like we have similar health conditions. My cancer is adenocarcinoma. I don't know how similar that is to yours. I was diagnosed in late November of 2018. And at the time, they thought I'd only have a few months at best to live. I had a sizable tumor in my right lung that was encapsulating my pulmonary artery. And they also found a large tumor in my T9 vertebrae. And they did, 2019, they did summer, they did kyphoplasty. Or first they did radiation to obliterate the tumor, and then after that, the tumor collapsed, but the vertebrae started to collapse, so they did kyphoplasty. And the kyphoplasty, I don't know, set off nerve pain. And the day after that, I had to go to ER, and I was in a like level 10. They called it intractable pain. That lasted about 2 weeks. They were actually going to euthanize me. I was begging them to do it, and I thought about what my neurologist said a few weeks earlier on a scheduled appointment about a drug. And I had my son run over to his office next to the hospital, and they called that in, and that eliminated the spasms I was having that set off the nerve pain just in time as the palliative care unit was on their way up. And they told me I'd never walk again, and a few weeks later, within a few weeks I was walking unassisted. So I got through that. I had a pretty good from late 2019 to early July last year. It was pretty good, and then I got another tumor that I didn't know about on my L2 vertebrae. It collapsed by 60%, and that set off that kind of nerve pain again, and ended up having the radiation, the same type of surgery, but that surgery didn't work well. And in December I went in and had a reconstruction of my lower spine. They removed a couple of the L2, L3 vertebrae and fused about 4 or 5 other ones and put in metal rods and screws. And I can't really walk. I could take maybe a couple steps, to get out of bed, hold the side of the bed, get into the wheelchair. But I haven't been able to walk normally or more than a step or two. I can stand up and, by myself for a second or two, unassisted. So it took quite a while. It took a couple months before I was able, actually it took more than that. I wasn't able to get up here to the second floor from July 2nd when it happened until I think it was about March, where I could again navigate, get out of the wheelchair and get up to 16 stairs to the second floor to the radio shack. So we've been able to get back on the radio. During that interim, I did a little bit of remote base work. Hang on a second. I timed out last time, so I was just ready to sign it over and got my 5-minute timer on the flex. So I won't hold it any longer, but we have a very similar health. I have other tumors too, so my oncologist, or one of my oncologists, recommended that I maybe try one of these special type drugs. Recommended that recently after taking a pathology of the tumors that they extracted during my surgery last December. I think he said it had a 1% hit on that, and I told him, well, the surgeon that did my spine said the hardware would last for about a year, so I didn't. This medication would require me to go in and have an IV every 2 weeks and some other drug injection every 6 weeks. So I didn't want to go through that. I said even if it eliminated the tumor and cured my cancer, but my limit's going to be my spinal cord. So I figured I might as well maximize the quality of health and do a little radio while I can. And what else? That's about it on the health. But I sure hope you fare better. I have another disease too. It's called transverse myelitis. You had mentioned the blood pressure, and I had high blood pressure until they put me a few years ago on morphine, which really helped the pain. Transverse myelitis is a disease very similar to multiple sclerosis. It affected me from my hips to my ankles on both legs. So the morphine apparently reduces the blood pressure. And with me, the problem is I get out of breath and my pulse will skyrocket. And I have to take this metoprolol tartrate medicine to reduce my pulse. But sometimes my blood pressure gets so low that if I take it, it'll really get it dangerously low. So I have to really watch that closely. How I can't take. I have to take half pills and wait sometimes days between taking them. But I kind of got it figured out. I'll make this my final. Listen to whatever else you got there. Really glad I ran across you there, Ron. WA2AAR. WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra, Chesterfield, Virginia, be clear. And I'm listening for your final. Go ahead.
Okay there, Tom. WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra, WA2AAR. Well, I had to go through colon cancer. I went well in its infancy. Before that, it's completely obliterated. Then I had to go through the thing called the cyber knife. If you don't know what the cyber knife is, everybody thinks it's a thing used for operations. It's not. It's a concentrated form of radiation. And I had these nodules at the bottom of my right lung where I have the cancer. And what happened was the nodules started to grow. So my oncologist wanted to get it out of there, and the only way to get it out of there without doing any surgery is with the cyber knife. That's what I had. I had 5 sessions of the cyber knife, and the cancer is completely obliterated. So cyber knife did its job. So all I got is a lung cancer right now to worry about, and I do get out of breath at times, more so than normal. And my ex-YL, she watches me like a hawk, and she makes sure that I don't do too much and everything else. Like the other day, I went outside and I mowed one part of the property with the mower, the riding mower, and I did that. And then I went and got the weed whacker, and I started weed whacking I got the battery-powered lawnmower, the push mower. I did certain areas with that. Then I got the weed whacker, and I started doing weed whacking. And she looked out the thing, and she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to get ready to come in." Well, in a weed whacker, where I did down by the front. "You're doing too much. Get in the house. Go sit down." She yelled at me. That's what I had to wind up doing, coming in the house and sitting down. Okay then, Tom, you take care of yourself. Hopefully we can get together again here on AM or CW or sideband, any place. It really doesn't make a difference. So you take care. God bless. Take care of yourself. We'll look for you again later down in the logbook. And have a good afternoon. What's left of it? Have a good evening. Quarter after 5. Have a good evening. With the XYO, I gotta go see the oncologist tomorrow. See what he has to say. First time I'm seeing him in 2 years. basically because of the COVID. I did not want to travel there to see him. So we would do video on the phone back and forth for all the time. And worked out very, very well. I'll go see him now, tomorrow. He's 2.5 hours away from me. He's actually his office is in New Jersey. And I will not swap doctors because he's the one keeping me alive. So I will not swap any doctors. As a matter of fact, all my doctors are in New Jersey. There's no doctors in Pennsylvania at all. So, okay, 73's here, Tom. God bless. Delta Zulu Sierra. This is Whiskey Alpha 2, American Amateur Radio, saying 73's, and God bless.
Yeah, God bless you too. WA2 American Amateur Radio. I like those phonetics, Ron. You listen to your wife. The lung cancer, at first I thought, that was the big deal. It ended up that the tumor that they thought would grow, just extremely rapidly, never, it just sits there, about the same size as when I was originally diagnosed in 2018. But it spreads cancer cells to my bones, and that's what's ended up getting me, was the spinal issues. I also had a tumor in my right shoulder that I did radiation on, and I did have 20 radiation treatments on the lung tumor, and it did nothing. Did absolutely nothing. The radiation oncologist was just dumbfounded. So anyhow, I lived way, way, way longer than any doctor predicted. In fact, I think I had, when I told them I had symptoms of this 2 years prior, same symptoms that brought me in, they didn't believe me. Now they believe me. I think I originally got the cancer somewhere around, I know I had the tumor in my back during summer of 2017. So that even makes it more remarkable. And I'm familiar with gamma knife surgery. They have a facility in the same hospital that I go to, the Virginia Cancer Institute at Johnston Willis Hospital here in Richmond. My wife had an issue and had at first brain surgery with that. Can't remember, trigonal. There's a vein in the brain that leads to the brain that causes pain. Forgot what they call trigeminal neuralgia. That's what it is, trigeminal neuralgia. And she first had that was not effective, had a lot of side effects. And then she had physical surgery, and that was all beat up. The same doctor, cushioned it, took flesh from elsewhere and untangled her veins and recushioned them, and the physical surgery went much better than the gamma knife. I think the gamma knife may be the same thing of what you had, but I'm not sure. Anyhow, we'll talk more about that next time. Sure hope to catch you again. WA2AAR, WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra is off and clear. 73.
All right, yeah, Tom, one more thing. The only way they found out what was going on with my cancer was that the nodules at the bottom of my lung, my regular family doctor, she's seen it start to grow, and she goes, "You got to see a thoracic surgeon." And I looked at her, I said, "What the hell is a thoracic surgeon?" And she told me, my wife, she gave me one, which I refused to go to, of course, where what hospital he was affiliated with. I was working as a head electrician for a major hospital in New Jersey. So I knew what was the good hospital, what was the bad hospital. So finally she found me another one. And this particular doctor that I went to, he got 4 awards for being the head thoracic surgeon in the country. He wrote 5 books on the subject. He had his own wing in the hospital. So I went to him, and then he was telling me that because of where the nodule was, he was supposed to cut, a third of my lung out to take care of the nodule. But when he went in there, he'd seen all the single cell carcinomas, and he took a sample of that and he closed me back up. I will not go through another surgery like that in my life. you know, your lung collapses because they're going in there. And they put this tube in there to reinflate your lungs for 3 days. You couldn't cough, you couldn't sneeze, you couldn't laugh, you couldn't do nothing because it hurt like hell. But that's a horse of a different color. I'll tell you more about that when we meet up again. 73 Tom. I got a rope, get ready to go over my other net. WB9 Delta Zulu Sierra. This is Whiskey Alpha 2, American Amateur Radio Station. I use Bob on the radio. That is my surname. Middle name is Robert. So I use Bob on the radio. There's a story behind that too. So we'll catch you again. 73's, God bless.
Yeah, okay, Bob. I'm sorry about the name thing. You should have clarified that up front. I didn't remember you giving it to me. I just pulled it off of QRZ. And when I had my surgery in December, it was an extremely traumatic surgery. You had to break a rib and do a bunch of stuff in my chest. And they tore my left lung, and it had collapsed. And they put a tube in, just like you say. And then my right lung, where the tumor is, got pneumonia. And I had a real bad time with my lungs. The left lung has recovered now, thank God, because the right lung has filled with fluid. I've had 2 thoracentesis treatments to drain. First time they drained 1.4 liters of fluid out of my right lung. And a month or so ago, I had a second one where they drained about 1 liter. And it's just filled, and I don't think there's anything I can really do about it. So I'm basically surviving on my left lung now that had been collapsed in December. But it's the right lung just seems to gather fluid quickly. I don't think I'll be able to keep up with that. 73, and just keep going. Triple final. I guess this is my 4th one. Take care. WA2AAR, WB9DZS clear.
Well, please, Tom. Take care. WA2AAR clear.